What is organic coffee? Does that mean it was like grown in feces? Like non-chemical
No,
feces?
but I can.
You seemed offended when you said
I
that.
can show you
Does that mean
I
yes?
can show you the bag. It's really good.
Have you smelled the bag?
Yes, this is the first thing I did.
Okay. Uh, just because it says organic doesn't mean it's good for you.
Mm,
And aren't you like the coffee guy, like the caffeine careful
well,
guy?
it was recommended.
What time is it
It was
there?
recommended to me by a doctor. Does that make
What does that even
better?
mean?
What?
Like Fauci?
No, no. This guy's actually a doctor, not a
Oh,
politician.
the Fauci ouchie? Oh.
Are we actually? We're
Hmm.
actually recording.
Am I supposed to advise you? I'm sorry. We're recording.
No, in
Just say no
Texas, you
recording.
don't have to advise anybody you record. It's implied.
Good. Good, good. Neat. Cool. How's Texas? Is it beautiful?
It's a little gray, but it is 80 degrees.
That's good. That's good.
It's windy.
You chose the topic today. What did you choose?
We're going to talk about like the journey and longevity of fitness and health.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think you should talk about that, and I'll make fun of you.
Okay. We
All
got
right.
this. We'll start out with a quote. You ready for the quote?
I'm excited.
The man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination.
Who said it will?
I actually don't know. I just saw it.
That's terrible.
I saw
That's
him. I
terrible.
love it. I don't care who said it. Who cares who said
It's a Google search, man. You gotta
it?
give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, but maybe if you found out who said it, then you wouldn't like it.
That's true. What if I don't like walking?
Um,
Make this apply to me well.
You're human. You do. So what does this mean to you, Adam? What does this mean to us? So what this means is, well, number one, we can't be so results driven. And in fitness in general, and maybe in career and maybe in life in general, especially the older we get. You're a little younger than me, but I'm almost 40 now with a grown kid that takes up a lot of our time, and you're experiencing that now too. You have to adjust your perspective and expectations. So if you relate that to fitness, when I was 27, 28 years old, training for the CrossFit Games, my goals, expectations, and perspective on training were probably, well, not probably, they are a lot different than they are now. Now, at 38, I'm trying not to get hurt. Yes, I want to be in the best shape I possibly can be in, and still, I find that I can, run and lift pretty good numbers close to what I used to be able to do. I'm probably never, going to be where I was. But you have to kind of adjust those expectations. And as you get older, those goals, that's why I'm honestly not, the older I get, I'm not a fan of goals. It sounds kind of weird, but if you relate it to sport and to fitness, so what happens once you get the goal? Right?
Set a new one? I don't know.
But how satisfying it really is it? Most people that are driven like to that point, the the satisfaction is just gone right away, and we have to move on to the next thing, right? So if you look at it as a longer journey, I think we'll find that we'll see success continued throughout our lifespan, rather than trying to hit these goals, keeping certain fitness um, goals throughout, whatever that is. But my point is, as you get older and things start to fulfill your life that are different than what they used to when you were younger, especially in your early 20s, and most of us were peaking physically, we have to keep that in perspective. And I think this is important because, especially for law enforcement, there is going to inevitably be those health factors that come into play, no matter what you do. It's just going to happen. Number one is sleep deprivation, and you've talked about that a lot. But
yeah, I preach it, but I don't practice it.
Well, we just can't. That's the point.
Right.
Like, you have to do the best you can, but we are literally shorting our lifespans with our sleep cycles. And that was the hardest thing for me starting over, coming to Texas, is going from a pretty comfortable, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift where I was sleeping a pretty regular hours to bottom of the totem pole. Now I'm 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Commuting to no take home car. And now I'm getting to bed by 7 a.m. and my body wants to be up at noon at the latest. I'm waking up at 10:30, like, oh my God, where am I? What's going on? I'm waking up at 11:30. I'm waking up at 12:30. And then it happens every day that I work. And so, and we can't afford that. We just can't. So that's why we preach and we talk about these other things, the fitness, the nutrition, ways to, I know you've been talking about this a little bit, and you're going to talk about a little bit more, but ways to help us sleep better, help us get better REM sleep and deep sleep. I've seen some really good studies out there, especially from Whoop, the Whoop Watch. They've done some really good sleep studies. I've been tempted to contact them and see. They've done a lot of studies on like individual groups, athletes, ER doctors and nurses, CEOs. They've done study groups like that to see sleep and recovery, and be tempted to see if they do one for law enforcement, because it'd be interesting to see the differences in the general population and what we're going through.
Maybe they just don't like cops. Well,
it's not true. I mean, that could be true. I hope it's not true, but
I hope it's not true too.
a lot of us wear their.
Well, let's get back to your original quote here for just a second, though. So what you're saying is that, in view of what we're talking about here regarding fitness, what you're saying is it's more important to enjoy the fitness journey than it is to meet a specific goal.
Yes, and I think most of us adults know this, but we need to enjoy the process. If we don't enjoy the process, it won't even matter if we reach goals. It really doesn't, right? Or milestones, whatever you want to call them. If you're not enjoying what you're doing day in and day out, it's a little bit of a mental factor, but I can't tell you how many people come into the gym over my ears and they're, why am I here? And everyone does it, but you got to find some type of fitness that you enjoy. And I'm a big believer in encouraging guys to find anything, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be what we do with the semi CrossFit stuff, whatever you want to call it. Cross training.
Well, funny you should say that, actually, because I'm going to be chatting with a professional bodybuilder actually probably on Monday on here.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. I mean, anything, whether that's picking up a sport too, which I think is maybe more valuable than CrossFit or fitness in general, because then it becomes a hobby too, and something that obviously you enjoy doing. So whether that's, I like to golf. My son golfs a lot, but I like to golf. And to be honest with you, it's really good exercise for a lot of guys that aren't very active, right? I mean, walking 18 holes is a big feat for a lot of guys.
I played in a basketball tournament last weekend and it wrecked me.
Perfect, so. Right?
Yeah.
So I think not losing sport in your life, and I look at CrossFit as sport, and that's kind of why I enjoy it. I look at every workout as a challenge, and kind of like, you could think of it as a game or whatever you want to think of it as, competition. But older I get, I'm competing against myself. I don't really compete anymore. I haven't competed in years. But yeah.
So that's how you enjoy the journey, is you find a fitness, I don't know, routine or regimen or whatever you want to call it that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, and that's why through our Virtue First Responder program, we do the body weight stuff. I know a lot of people don't enjoy lifting weights. They just don't, whether that's for fear of getting hurt or it's just a hassle, whatever it is, just mentally they can't, get to that other side of enjoying it. A lot of people just enjoy doing bodyweight stuff. People just enjoy running, and that's great,
Mm-hmm.
So with the bodyweight stuff, we try to obviously implement functional exercises that you're going to have to do in life, like squatting and some type of deadlifting, even if it's not really picking up weight, but just going through that range of motion, lunging, push-ups, pull-ups, things like that. But I know there's a huge, sector of, especially law enforcement out there, that they go to work every day wearing all this crap, 30 pounds of crap on them every day. The last thing they want to do is go lift weights. And I get it. I'm different, but I like to lift weights, and so do you. But that doesn't mean that we can't find something that's enjoyable for those that don't.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite for me. I enjoy lifting weights, but when I go to put that vest on, man, like this morning, I stood back and looked at it and went,
yeah, me too. Yeah, that's how.
And then I threw it on.
We have to wear, the belt and everything here. We can't do low bearing, so
Yeah.
it's definitely smashed my motivation to wear the uniform because I got used to that low bearing vest, which.
You got to get your old man suspenders, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I don't even think those work either. Still going to be too much on your hips, but I get used to it again. But for me, I got to keep moving. If I don't keep moving and working out, that's when actually I start getting the inflammation and getting the lower back stuff. So yeah, another thing I had written down here under this quote is along that process, you must learn to love the journey. When you love the journey, the goals just happen. You hit milestones as a side effect because it doesn't matter at that point. So that's another way to look at it. I'm not saying goals and milestones aren't important. If your goal is, let's just take something simple, like say you're doing the body weight program that we put out through Virtue, and we test the mile run or the mile and a half run, and your goal is whatever it is, maybe a 6-minute mile. That's great. That really is great. But over that 6 to 8 weeks of training leading up to the retesting of it, I think if we're enjoying what we're doing, we're enjoying our 3 to 4 days a week of exercise, the goal, the milestone is just going to be a side effect of that. I always tell my CrossFit coaches that I program for a local gym here. I always tell them that we aren't here for the fitness. That's weird to say. The fitness is a side effect. We're here to create a positive growth environment for people to come in and to feel a part of a community and to enjoy their journey. And then the fitness is simply a side effect. The fitness is the easiest part. All they have to do is move. The important part is making the friendships, having fun, BSing with their partners in class. So that would be another thing I would recommend to guys is find someone to do it with. Whether it's a buddy or family, bring your family into it, bring your kids into it, show them what you're doing. And that's going to make it a little more fun along the way.
Okay, well, you mentioned sleep, and I'm going to make you talk about that a little bit because you're sitting there chugging coffee, but you hypocrite. But no, not at all. Okay, but it wasn't too long ago you shared some really good information with me regarding sleep, regarding caffeine intake, alcohol intake, and I am gonna share some more of this information on Instagram. But those are like 1-minute segments, so I got to fit everything I can into a minute, the most pertinent stuff. But and I don't know how much time you have today, but let's talk about sleep a little bit.
Okay, so if I'm specifically talking about sleep for law enforcement, there's a few things that we need to talk about before we even get to sleep. And a couple of those things are probably nutrition timing, hydration, caffeine. Okay, so the later in our day we get closer to bedtime, and some of us can't control exactly when we go to bed, but closer to bedtime, we need to shut off our system in several different ways. Number one, we need to stop eating at some point. Um, I I would recommend a minimum, if you can, of 4 hours before you go to sleep. Stop eating because your body's going to be digesting that food, and you're still going to be burning calories. Your body's still going to be working, and we'll never get into um, a deep sleep, REM sleep type mode, at least not efficiently. Okay, so that's one thing we do. We need to stop snacking close to bedtime. Bad, bad juju, especially for us.
How dare you?
Especially for us, working these weird hours with we already know we're not going to sleep a normal 8 hours, right? It's just not going to happen for most of us. So priming our body to go to sleep is number one. There's all kinds of other strategies to sleep better. You can also, there's a million strategies. Okay, how do you shut your brain down? You can do all kinds of things. Meditation, reading is good. All kinds of stuff. You can research that, and we can talk about that more at a later date. Number two, you got to talk about caffeine. Caffeine is probably only necessary for certain people in this world. And I would say police officers, I wouldn't say it's necessary, but it is a tool that you can use. Caffeine is a tool for performance. Therefore, if we use it correctly around our shifts and around when we need to perform, then as long as we know how to dissipate it from our body too, then we're going to be okay. So caffeine really is liquid adrenaline. However, it has some very good effects as far as focus, as far as being alert. We all know what caffeine will do for us. But it has some detrimental effects on your sleep if you have too much in your system if you're trying to go to sleep. So there's something called the half-life of caffeine. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this before. I don't know if we talked about it on a podcast, but real quick, you wake up in the morning. Let's say you're a normal human being, and you wake up in the morning,
whatever that means.
Yeah, 6 a.m., and you have a cup of coffee. Most cup of coffees are going to be, we're just going to say around 200 milligrams of caffeine. Now that varies in what drinks and coffee, whatever you're having for your caffeine. It can be up to 300 milligrams, like in the nasty Bangs, the energy drinks. Those are 300 milligrams, maybe even more. I've had like one of those in my lifetime, and I almost had a heart attack. I don't know how you people drink those. Anyway.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. So 200 milligrams at 6 a.m. in a average human being is going to dissipate that caffeine every 6 hours, about half of it. So at noon, you're going to be at 100. At 6 p.m., you're going to be at 50 milligrams. At midnight, you're going to be at 25. At 6 a.m., when you wake up the next morning, you're going to be at 12.5. And then you're going to have your next cup of coffee. So now you're at 212.5, and it just keeps going from there, right? So when you went to bed, you probably had, let's say, 50 milligrams in your body, which is still going to be a significant effect on your body when you go to bed. Now, how do I dissipate the caffeine from my body quicker? Hydration, lots of water. That'll dissipate it from your body quicker. You can just think about that because the fluids will be going out of your body. Number two, good nutrition will help you dissipate that. Number three, good health and fitness. So working out is going to help you dissipate that caffeine and those fluids out of your body and your bloodstream. The less you weigh, the less body fat percentage you have, all of that will play into this game of how do I get rid of the caffeine. Now, if you time it though, and you're having your caffeine at the beginning of your shift, and like me, if you're doing a 12-hour shift, you're going to dissipate a lot of that caffeine. You're going to dissipate at least 3/4 of it So you're probably doing pretty good at bedtime, especially if you have some strategies at bed during bedtime to get to sleep and to have that get into that deep sleep.
You mean like a shot of whiskey?
No, that will kill your sleep. So there are studies out there, pretty good studies on alcohol and caffeine. Basically, one drink of alcohol will kill a quarter of your REM sleep. 2 drinks, 3 drinks, 4 drinks, you have no REM sleep. It's out. And the caffeine studies aren't as clear yet, but it looks like it's probably about the same. If you have one, we're talking about a 200 milligram drink of caffeine, whatever that is, 1 cup of coffee. That's a pretty strong cup of coffee, but that's what they think. But you dissipate caffeine. Alcohol will stay in your bloodstream for a pretty good amount of time. So again, it's a timing thing with alcohol too. And I would say most Americans and cops drink right before bed. So it's going to be in your system and it's going to mess up your recovery sleep for sure.
Alrighty then. So all that stuff is bad. Good to know. Good to know.
It's not good. Sorry.
And we talk about REM sleep because kind of like I mentioned on Instagram earlier today, not today, Wednesday, was that REM sleep is where your body recovers, and it's also where your brain processes trauma. So it's an extremely important place for you to get at nighttime. Anything else you want to go over, Will?
No. We should probably talk in the future, and I have to do a little bit more research. I have heard some good seminars on this. REM sleep is important, and you are correct that it is a very important part of recovery, and you are going through, your body is processing a lot of I don't know what you want to call it, mental trauma, or actually a lot of deep diving mental stuff while you're in REM. It may not be the most important sleep cycle, though. The most important part of your sleep cycle may be your deep sleep. And that's one thing I've heard in seminars where, because the deep sleep is really where your body is getting that, I don't know the word, but it sounds, it's deep sleep. So your body is literally shut off. And usually, like if I look at my Whoop, right now, and I go over my sleep from last night real quick. It says I got 6 hours and 30 minutes of sleep, which is really crazy for me because I think I average, let's see, it doesn't show me my average right off the top of my head here. It's somewhere around here, but I was actually in bed for 8 hours and 3 minutes. It was a day off, so it was a really good day of sleep. Nice. I was awake for 1 hour and 33 minutes, and that is going to include all the disturbances you have during the night. So that's one thing you got to think of, is you're going to have disturbances as police officers, and the way our schedules work and our hypervigilance, everything.
Or if you have a puppy.
You have children, or you have lots of trauma from seeing what we've seen. I average 11 disturbances a night. I had 7 last night. So that's that wake period, 1 hour and 33 minutes. Mm-hmm. There's light sleep, which is really important too. It's, that's the sleep in between the other 2 major sleep cycles of REM and deep sleep. 3 hours and 25 minutes is what I got in light sleep. And that's going to be your majority of what you're actually in sleep. My REM sleep was 1 hour and 41 minutes, which is pretty good. I want to say that REM and deep sleep, you want about, like, each of them, if you can get them around 20% of your total sleep, you're doing really, really well. So I do well on, like, my days off, my days on, not so much. But 1 hour and 41 minutes of REM sleep and 1 hour and 24 minutes of deep sleep. The closer those 2 numbers, the better. You want to get both. You really do. And there's a lot of people that don't get deep sleep, like hardly any of it, because their brain never shuts off. You can think of it like that too. The brain in the REM, even in REM sleep, is not shut off, right? It's processing. It's also the body's digesting at that point, and the brain is still working. That deep sleep.
Yeah, case in point, REM actually stands for rapid eye movement.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Go ahead.
So if you can get those two as close as possible, that 20% number of your total sleep, I really recommend guys track their sleep in somehow. The Whoop watch is great. The Apple watches, I think, do this too. The Fitbit, I don't know if I've never used the Fitbit.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Whatever it is.
But
so.
It made me a little nervous when you said I'm going to look at my Whoop. So I'm glad you're kind of defining that right now. So I appreciate that.
Anyway, find a way to track your sleep, because it can really help you. It can also, if you're not aware, right? If you're not aware of what's going on in your sleep, how do you make anything better? How do you look for research strategies? How do you, move towards getting better recovery?
Yeah, I'm old school, so I just tell my kid to watch me sleep and to time it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work, actually.
There you go. Good. Yeah, try it out.
Yeah. I'm a really good dad. Let's see. Okay, cool. Tell us where to find your stuff. Otherwise, people will.
VirtueSportsPerformance.com. You can contact me on Facebook or Instagram as well. If you do, just message me if you want free programming, because that's what I give, is free fitness programming. I'll also work with you with nutrition. I'm working with probably close to 20 law enforcement athletes right now around the country. Just kind of one-on-one. I send out a kind of a weekly email, although I've gotten behind, sent probably every 2 weeks sending one out. You are the furthest in the program, so everyone else is just kind of back at.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so, look at me.
Look at
I'm
him.
a specimen.
Week 14. Jeez.
Yeah.
But
do you like my tactical Jesus, by the way?
Yes, I do. Actually, yeah. I really want that shirt.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go buy some right now.
Good. So, you should.
Yeah, hit me up if you want some free training. Even if you're just interested, let me know. Body weight program, and then a program kind of with full equipment with whatever you have. We'll work with you.
Cool. All right, we'll put all your info in the show notes here. So, yeah. Till next time, guys. We'll get Will back again. Give you some more good info. All right. See ya.
Thanks, brother.